Hello, Twin Flames, and welcome back to your favorite Twin Flame podcast, the Twin Flame Healing Revolution, with me, your host, Luana Spirits. I have been an evidential psychic medium, energy healer, and Twin Flame coach of over 4.5 years. Today, we are outside again, and it is it is the warm weather, but it's also the morning and it's pretty cold, so I'm wearing a jacket, and also my hair is still wet, so I'm extra chilly today. Um, Fun fact before we dive into this episode, my sleep schedule has been all over the place. I have been awake in the middle of the night, I've been sleeping during the middle of the day, and I woke up today and I looked at the clock, and I went to bed very early last night. I looked at the clock and it said 7. And I didn't like look more into that. And I was like, oh my God, I woke up at 7 p.m. So I went for my bike ride. And then I was like, oh, there's no one here. Why is there no one here? And the sun's going down. And then I got home and I realized that it was actually 7 a.m. And I was so confused. I was so disoriented. And I was like, what is going on? Like, genuinely, what is going on? I don't know what has been going on with the solar flares and the global energy, but it has been affecting me. I think us extra sensitive people can relate to that. So yeah, that's how my day started. And then I took a shower, and now I'm really contemplating my whole life. Like I legitimately thought that I slept in for more than 12 hours and got up at 7 p.m. Like, that's how tired I've been with everything that's been going on. I haven't been posting on TikTok lately. But anyways, I digress. You guys are gonna have to let me know in the comments if you've also been super weird with your sleep schedule. I can't be the only one. So today, and I'm so sorry if you guys can hear my chickens screaming like toddlers and the neighbors. People be up at this hour. There's so much noise. Okay. Today, we're gonna talk about healing. Twin flame healing and how to actually do it. This podcast episode is going to be a little more instructional and follow along because there's not enough information on the internet about how to actually do this. So I'm going to teach you guys my somatic emotional processing method, which I go super in depth into my academy, which is launching very soon. I am super excited to launch this, make it live, and publish it. Um, it is literally going to be every single thing that you could possibly need help with on the twin flame journey is like in this academy. I have poured so many hours into it, so much blood, sweat, and tears. So when this is live, I'll be launching it. I'll be notifying you guys. So get hyped for that. But today we're going to talk about twin flame healing. Now, this is something I talk about a lot on TikTok, but a lot of twin flame healing or the mainstream ideas of how to heal is very mind oriented. Basically, you sit there and you try and make yourself feel better by thinking different thoughts. Not only does this not work, especially for twin flame relationships, but this is so cruel to yourself because you can't force yourself to feel differently. You have to work with your emotions and respect your emotions as the energy. There's a mosquito. As the energy that they are, right? Y'all, this chicken is complaining. Wow, that's very distracting and kind of irritating. Let's say you get triggered by your twin flame. Let's say you feel let's say you are a twin flame who is experiencing a third party situation in any form, right? Like, a third party can be another romantic person that they're with. A third party can be like a friend who is seemingly causing issues in your connection. Like, they always listen to this friend they never listen to. A third party can be a really annoying mother-in-law. Like, there's so many different examples of third party. Third party is anything that seems to come between you and your twin flame, and it's a manifested external physical thing, person, circumstance, or even a behavior. could be a karmic pattern. So let's say this third party is making you feel enraged, boiling rage, and you don't know if it's jealousy, you just feel completely enraged. So what most people do, what most people are taught to do is either the mirror exercise, which I have many thoughts on. I'm not going to go into that in this video. I do have a lot of problems with it. But most people are like telling themselves, no, like my twin flame loves me, and they're trying to like sit there and meditate and feel better. What you want to do is you actually want to allow the rage to intensify until it's all that you can feel. You want to intensify this rage until you feel it in every cell of your body. You feel it in your chest, your shoulders, your head, your legs, your feet, your fingertips, your nose. Like you want to intensify the rage. And you want to sit there and just let yourself feel it completely. So, when we feel emotions, we get upset and we do numbing activities. Numbing activities can look anywhere from drinking alcohol to doom scrolling on TikTok to calling a friend and ranting for 2 hours until they're sick of you. Like numbing is any activity that we're using to not feel the trigger and to not feel the emotion. So what you want to do when you're actually getting triggered by your twin flame is to stop, drop and roll, stop, drop and feel instead, right? Like you need to let yourself feel it completely. What this is going to do for you is actually let the emotion process through your body and be released. As in, you are not going to deal with this trigger in the future with the same intensity because you're letting yourself work through the bulk of the emotion that trigger is. And this is really, really important because, I mean, who's guilty of trying to think your way out of a trigger? Definitely me, right? Definitely you guys too. Like, this is actually just the way we're taught in society to deal with our emotions. And even the word deal, we got to deal with our emotions because our emotions are annoying. And we all wish that we were intellectual robots and AI and we had no feelings. Sorry to break it to society, but we're actually meant to feel our emotions. We're actually meant to process them. We're actually meant to have the full range of emotional experiences. And people in our society will make an enemy of our emotions. Like, we demonize emotions and we especially demonize negative emotions, right? Like, have you ever like seen a crying child and parents are just so fed up with that child? They're like dragging the child. They're like, let's get out of here. Like, stop complaining, stop crying. Like, if you cry, like, I'll give you something to cry about because, the reason you're crying isn't valid. Like, all of that is so freaking toxic. If you grew up with parents who are like this, you've got a lot of self-compassion and rewiring to do with your inner parent, like the way that you parent yourself, the way that you respond to your negative emotions. Because let me tell you guys, and this is also something I heard from Peel Swan, and then I ran with this. I was like, this is amazing. Like, this is brilliant. This is revolutionary. But she says there's no such thing as a bad emotion. Every single emotion is valid, and every single emotion is directly like, okay, so let's say you go to the store and you see a woman having a total meltdown on the floor. A lot of people are going to look like that and be like, oh my God, that lady is so immature. Like, she needs to get help. Like, she's having a mental breakdown. But actually, when someone is in that state, they are having a proportional and appropriate emotional response to what is going on for them within. Directly proportional, directly accurate to the pain and the distress that they're experiencing. So there is no such thing really as overreacting. We can look like we're overreacting to the people around us. Okay, I want you to think of it this way. So let's say that there is a planet full of aliens, right? And they have never experienced trauma. They're very calm. They always communicate. There's no such thing as danger. There's no such thing as war. Now, let's say we take an extremely traumatized war veteran, bring them to that planet, and there's noises that are triggering their PTSD. All the aliens on that planet are going to look at that person and be like, whoa, this person is like, what a strange, funny human. They're freaking out. And to them, there's like, what do you mean? Like, there's no danger here. But that person, because of their programming, because of their experiences, think, and they're getting triggered back into that trauma of war, right? Because they're a war veteran in this example. So that is obviously more on the extreme end of an example, right? But I use this example because most of us have not been in war. I mean, maybe some of you guys have been in war. Maybe some of you guys are refugees from other countries. Maybe you're dealing with war right now. Regardless, that is a really big example of a trauma, but we go through trauma every single day when we don't, as children, when our nervous systems are not regulated, when we cannot deal with the stress that our nervous system is receiving, it stays stuck as trauma and tension and fear in the body, and it comes out through triggers with our twin flames. So I really want you guys to like really accept this, because some of you are listening to this right now and I just know you're thinking to yourselves, yes, like I should be compassionate to myself, but then you go later and you're like beating yourself up. So like really absorb what I'm saying, right? Like there is no such thing as a bad emotion. There is no such thing as an emotion that is wrong or shameful to have. Every single one of your emotions, no matter how horrible you think that emotion is or how horrible you think this part of you is, there's a reason for it, right? Like there is a reason for it, and maybe you probably understand the reason for some of your wounds and you probably don't understand the reason for other wounds that you have. Regardless, every single way that you feel has a reason. And it's not your job to judge yourself, because that gets you nowhere. I mean, if you want to get stuck, you can keep judging yourself, but if you actually want to heal and dissolve these emotions and feel better, then it's time to be so deeply compassionate about yourself. Um People think that compassion is like this soft, like love and light. We're all going to be kind and compassionate towards each other. But truthfully, the energy of compassion is you're in the trenches with your shadows. There's so many war analogies coming through. I don't know why that is the first example that I think of, but let's just run with it. Like you're in the trenches with your trauma and your pain. You're not just going like, "Oh, I'm so compassionate to how you feel." No, you're in the trenches on your hands and knees like bleeding with your trauma, and you're like, "I understand how you feel. I'm experiencing this with you." Do you guys understand that the reason that we have childhood trauma and we feel so shitty is because the parents and the adults in our environment did not co-regulate with us when we're going through our shitty experiences. They were like, "You know what? I can't deal with you right now. I can't deal with you right now. Go deal with this. Don't cry. You're disturbing me," right? They create a separation between us and them. And then we grow up and we wonder why we meet our twin flame and we have a separation. Is because we were experiencing such shitty treatment from the people around us when we were children. Even if you grew up in a loving home, you have probably experienced apathy, lack of compassion at some point in your childhood. And so we need to resolve these experiences to actually be able to heal our relationship wounds and to experience connection with our twin flame. Because if we don't, we're just going to keep getting triggered and triggered and triggered. Y'all, I hope I don't get locked out. I actually brought keys with me this time. The other day I was outside lying in the sun, meditating and talking to my guides. And then I got locked out. And it was not fun. I really had to use the bathroom. Um yeah, I don't think I'm getting locked out this time. So, okay, so that is like the preview, right? Of how we think about our trauma, how you got to approach your emotions. Positive, negative, even the emotions that don't seem to exist. Like maybe you're just numb. Beneath numbness is 100. Okay, so beneath numbness, let's say, and this is what people say to me sometimes, they say, "Well, I don't feel anything towards my twin flame. I feel nothing." And I'm like, that's not a good sign. First of all, that's a sign that there's actually really, really intense emotions beneath the surface. What has happened is that your pain and your emotions have become so too intense for your nervous system to handle that your body has disassociated from them, that you have numbed yourself to them. And you don't need to be hard on yourself for doing this. This is like a survival response of the body, the brain, the nervous system, right? You shut down, you numb, you don't feel it anymore. So even if you feel numb, those emotions exist beneath the surface, and we kind of have to start doing this process of melting that iceberg. Like the tip of the iceberg is okay, the little trigger, like our twin flame does something, we feel irritated with them. Maybe we're in a relationship with our twin flame and they're not connecting with us in the way that we want. Maybe we feel like, oh, like my twin flame is annoying me. But like beneath the surface is this whole avalanche of emotions that are not being felt. And this is fine. So when you start letting yourself feel your emotions, especially if you are someone who tends to numb yourself, when you start to let yourself feel your emotions, you're going to be in for a ride. Like, let me tell you, it's going to go from 0 to 100 and it's going to be like, whoa, I'm completely consumed by this. I'm completely triggered. What's going on? I'm never going to feel better. That's actually a good sign. And you want to learn how to sit with yourself and sit with the feelings. Like, even if that means sitting for 40 minutes with no TV, with no phone, with no doom scrolling on TikTok, not even if it's my content, not even, like sitting there and just feeling into your body somatically, letting yourself feel everything. Because what happens when you do that is you're finally feeling everything that you have been suppressing your entire life. Every negative experience from your childhood, from your parents, from not being regulated, from being, told that you're not good enough or you should shut up or whatever the trauma is, right? It's about letting yourself feel that, and the iceberg is melting. And okay, this is another thing that I go over in the academy that is going to be released soon, but we go into literally just sitting with and fully feeling every single trigger. And when you're feeling your trigger, the trigger will melt and it will change and it will morph and it will turn into different emotions. That's also something I still have to add to the academy in the healing module, but I'm going to be basically adding this section where it's talking about what to expect with a trigger. When you get triggered and you go into the trigger and you've never gone into it before, that trigger starts to morph. So let's say, like back to our example of there's a third party and you feel boiling rage throughout your entire body. The trigger might start as boiling rage, and then maybe it morphs into, man, the sunlight's really changing here. I hope I hope that's not distracting, but maybe it morphs into sadness. Like maybe beneath the boiling rage, you start to feel crippling sadness and depression. Okay, then you sit with that, right? And then maybe you feel numb instead of depressed. And then maybe you feel the rage again. And then maybe you feel disgust at yourself. Maybe you start to feel angry towards yourself. And maybe in the beginning it was just anger towards your twin flame. Now the trigger has morphed into feeling angry towards yourself. So these are all different ways that we can experience triggers. It will change, it will morph, and then eventually, well, not eventually, because you will feel relief at first. It feels incredibly relieving to release, to, like, let's say you're going up a mountain and you're carrying this very, very heavy backpack that is sending stabbing pain into your legs or your back. Like when you put the backpack down, you're going to feel immediate relief, but then you're still going to have to recover from the trauma of carrying that heavy ass backpack all the way up that mountain, right? So, but you will go to a point where the healing really has taken place, where your nervous system has shifted, where the energy has shifted, where you've acclimatized to the new feeling, and then you just feel better. Like you genuinely feel better. You feel peace instead of that boiling rage. You start to feel self-confident. You're like, damn, like I'm worth it. Like I'm, you know, valuable. Like, of course I'm attractive to my twin flame. Of course I'm valuable to my twin flame because I am valuable. You get to that place where you start to feel like better in general. And that's how you know that you have really, excavated that trigger. That's another thing that I talk about in the academy in the healing. That's another thing that I talk about in the academy in the healing module is we are excavating your triggers, because your triggers are not these little annoyances. No, they're like, your trigger is the tip of the iceberg to heal that huge emotional blockage, which, by the way, that emotional blockage is the blockage between you and your twin flame, right? Because your twin flame, if this is a true twin flame, divine counterpart, healthy, soul-based relationship, meaning a future timeline is available to you and it's not just a karmic connection who's triggering your shadows, but this is a genuine, like, healthy twin flame counterpart with a future timeline, then your twin flame and that divine counterpart is going to be consistently and continually pushing you to heal yourself into a state where you can experience bliss and love and peace. Like, that's just how these soul-based connections work. That's just how it works. Oh my god, there's a mosquito. Anyways, so I hope that's illuminating. Um yeah, you have to be so compassionate with yourself. This is not like, okay. And within the academy, if you guys end up getting into the academy once it's launched, which I totally think you should, it's so incredible, jam-packed with tools, information, education. It's going to be so good. I'm very excited for it. Then you are going to be led through this process of setting yourself up for long-term success. Like, I want you to think of your twin flame as your dream relationship, right? Like, you're not going to manifest your dream relationship or your dream partner without long-term changes, because that connection in its ideal form is loving and supporting you in the long term. So of course in the process, you're going to become a different person as you're going there. You're going to become the most loving towards yourself version of yourself, the most authentic, the most fearless, the most self-confident. You are literally glowing up. Like, that is what, in my opinion, that's what a true twin flame relationship does to you. It doesn't keep you stuck. It literally pushes you through a glow up, and then you are better on the other side. Like, there's a lot of people on TikTok who are in continual cycles of stuckness and karma and toxic cycles with their twin flame. That's not a twin flame relationship. Okay, maybe it is, but maybe you're not healing, right? An actual twin flame relationship, like the respectable version of it, is you're going through a massive glow up. You're healing, your life is up leveling. It's not just someone that you are obsessed with, right? Like, it's genuinely someone who loves you and you love them back. And it's this beautiful synthesis and transformation that occurs. So, even if you identify as a twin flame who's stuck in these karmic cycles, like, you don't have to stay stuck. It's up to you to do that healing. And I highly encourage you to get into the academy once it's live, because it is literally going to lead you through that process of total transformation, inner change, and that is what creates change in your physical reality. You know what? A lot of people come to me and they're saying, I'm doing all this healing, and I don't know what they mean by healing, but they're saying, I'm doing all this healing and I'm seeing no change in my physical reality. And here's the thing, yes, change can take time to show up, but if you are doing quote unquote healing and you're not seeing change in your physical reality, which is another word for saying I'm not satisfied, then your energy and the changes that you're making are probably not the right changes, or they're probably not in alignment, or you're not actually going into those deep iceberg level triggers that you need to be going into in order to do that healing. And you guys, this is a ew, sorry, my water bottle just fell over and touched the grass. This is completely foolproof. Because if you are experiencing something in your reality that is causing you to feel angry or triggered or unsatisfied, there is an emotional, energetic charge there. Which means if there's an energetic charge, that is a blockage. That is an energetic blockage. And if there is an energetic blockage, you can change that energy. You can dissolve it. You can transmute it. This is why, you guys, it drives me nuts when I hear people saying, like, if it's meant to be with my twin flame, it'll be. It'll be. Okay, so surrender is a good thing. But there is such a thing as disempowerment and giving all your power away versus genuine surrender. Genuine surrender comes from when you are already in alignment. If you are not in alignment with your intentions, your thoughts, your beliefs, your actions, your daily routines, I don't know if I counted properly there. But if you're not in alignment, surrender, quote unquote surrender, is another way of saying, I'm going to do nothing and I just hope it happens for me, which, guys, if that is you, and if that's what you're experiencing, I've got some news for you. You're not going to manifest a relationship with your twin flame. That's just a fact. You're not going to manifest that long-lasting relationship. And I don't want you to see that as bad news. I want you to empower yourself and realize that you have the power for a reason to change things. You have 100% of the power over your life to experience the relationship that you want. Your romantic partnership, your relationship, even if it's with your twin flame, is a reflection of you, your energy, your choices, your mindset, your thoughts, your beliefs, your actions, your behaviors. You have 100% control over it, right? So yes, there is a type of spiritual contract here, but it does not negate the fact that we are the creator of our reality. We are. It doesn't matter what bullshit, quite frankly, you have absorbed online about the twin flame community and like how the journey goes, what you're supposed to do, what you're meant to experience, blah, 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 blah. You are the creator at the end of the day. Nothing that anyone else tells you takes that away from you. Nothing. You got to not get into that disempowerment attitude. And if you find yourself in that attitude, it's time to change that right now. It's time to take responsibility for your life, for your energy, for your thoughts, for your emotions, and look at your physical reality and realize, even if you are someone who has experienced trauma, who was not fully unconditionally loved in your childhood, you have the power right now to change that and to heal yourself and to create a new outcome, which includes having your dream relationship with your twin flame, right? So you have to empower yourself. This needs to be the attitude that we have when we're healing. Because let me tell you right now, I have worked with a lot of people. I have worked with thousands, literally thousands of twin flames. And right off the bat, when I meet someone, when I do a reading for them or a coaching session with them, I can sniff out probably within the first 5 minutes whether or not that person is going to have success on their journey or whether or not they actually need to do some pivoting in their approach, right? And I have met people and had long-term clients who I've had to actually let go of and not work with them anymore because they're simply not willing to heal. They're not willing to look at their shadows. They're not willing to empower themselves. So unworkability can come in so many different forms. And it doesn't do me a service or even them a service for me to continue, telling them the same message over and over again that, you really got to look at this pattern. You really got to resolve this because this is the blockage, right? So, it's all in your energy. And this has nothing to do with your circumstance. This has nothing to do with your circumstance. It doesn't matter if your twin flame is married or if you're married or if you're in an extenuating circumstance or like whatever's going on, like a separation. It is your thoughts and your beliefs that create that reality. You guys, one of my business mentors, one of my mentors in general who I look up to, her name is Sarah Pearl. And she has an account where she talks about manifestation. And she is so, so, so different than other manifestation gurus that you see online. She is genuinely like empowered, like her throat chakra energy really shows for the success that she has accumulated and acquired and attracted, because manifestation is not just about pushing and pushing and pushing or scripting. It's about realizing you actually create your life. This goes for all of you who are on the twin flame journey, right? Like that is the greatest indicator of whether or not you're going to succeed. And I know there are people online who will be like, you will end up with your twin flame no matter what. It's not true. I just got to say it. It is not true. I would be doing a massive disservice and a big F you to everyone if I perpetuated that. It's not true. Now, I used to use this affirmation. Some of you who knew my early TikTok days when I was like, I don't know, like I was definitely in a different vibe. I was like exploring social media for the first time, and I used to say, "Yes, chicken, what do you want? What do you need?" Oh my gosh. They're so, so cute. I wish you guys could see, but they're just like walking in circles around me. Anyways, like I used to say, your twin flame union is inevitable. And that's a wonderful affirmation. But there's a reason I don't say that anymore. And it's because my perspective has shifted. And I've been receiving more downloads about how I actually want to talk about this. So, no, your twin flame union is not inevitable unless you want to use that as an affirmation that couples with action that you're taking to actually heal yourself, actually shift your life, actually make changes, right? So, yeah. But let me tell you guys what happens when you're empowered. Let me tell you how the people who genuinely succeed on their own journeys, their mindset, their behavior, their actions, first of all, they believe in themselves. They have this humble attitude. They're very connected to their intuition. They're very committed to a higher purpose and realizing that, the universe loves them and the universe wants to provide for them, but they need to help the universe give them these things that they're wanting. This goes for any manifestation, not just the twin flame relationship, right? Like, they are workable. They're open to advice from spirit. They're willing to look at their ego, their patterns, their karmic patterns. How many of you guys watching have a divine masculine who is in a karmic pattern that you're so frustrated with, and you're just looking at him and you're like, damn, like, he's so unaware. Like, why is he hanging out with all these karmic connections? Like, he should know better. He should go on his spiritual awakening path. The universe in your guides kind of look at you the same way, right? Like, just because you are maybe at a higher level of consciousness doesn't mean you don't still have stuff to work on and to heal. So we need to have a bit of a humble attitude, especially as divine feminines. I see this a lot. Like, this is where I disagree with a lot of divine feminines on the internet, where they're kind of like, my divine masculine needs to get his shit together. He needs to do this and blah, blah, blah. Like, focus on yourself. Like, focus on healing your wounds, healing your limiting beliefs, healing your self-confidence and your self-expression and your higher connection. Do something, do your purpose, like, do what makes your life have meaning. Like, don't just focus on and be so unhappy with, oh, my twin flame is, not the person I want them to be. Like, be the person that you want to be with. And your twin flame will heal and get inspired by you. But there's just such this like victim attitude that I am so not good with, because and I genuinely say this from love. I'm not saying this to make anyone feel bad. If you are listening to this and you feel triggered, then good. Let yourself get mad. Like, let yourself realize and feel how much you've been giving your power away to disempowering thoughts, to circumstances, to your 3D reality, whatever it is. Like, let yourself get mad. Let yourself use that anger as fuel to realize that you have so much power over your life and your twin flame connection. Also, my hair has dried so much throughout this video. But yeah, that is what I really want to say. And I say this from love. This is what true unconditional love is. You say the shit that you know is going to trigger people because you know that it is also going to set people free. The people who are actually willing and able, and you're ready to change your reality and to change your life. You're tired of the same patterns. This shit is going to set you free. So let yourself feel that. Like, let yourself feel that power and get mad. Let yourself be mad. I'm going to end this here before this gets too long, but thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let me know in the comments what you're going to be doing differently in your connection. If you have been disempowering yourself, comment down below your new empowered thoughts. Get really real and honest with it. Also, the Academy is coming very, very, very soon, so stay tuned to that. If you are an empowered twin flame, if you know that this is your purpose, if you know that this is your destiny, and if you are ready to make this shit happen, stay tuned, because the Academy is just for you. So as always, let me know in the comments your thoughts, your future requests. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in the next episode. Take care.